everybody, and time to take a look at the cryptocurrency market, and we'll start with the next Cryptocast, and beginning with Algorand. We'll run through these alphabetically. The only significance of the markers on here are that the green one there is the one that we've got in our green report, and the red ones happen to be the ones that that I'm holding at the moment. I think they need updating at the moment, but okay, so starting off with Algorand, and you can see the arc here is continuing to build out. It's been pushing a little further to the right as time's gone by. What we're waiting for here to confirm this touch point is a breakout of this downtrending resistance line. So a move above somewhere in the region of $1, we'll call it $1.90, that kind of area. That should see us back up to around about $2.50 fairly quickly. And a move above that would confirm that we're heading up towards, very likely heading up towards this upper resistance line, which is much, much higher. So one step at a time, let's just see the breakout first and get the edge of this large arc confirmed. The smaller arc that you can see here, of course, the price target has already been reached. It's been exceeded, and then we've had this pullback. So just waiting for that further confirmation. Okay, band protocol. If I just adjust the chart to get the arc in the right position. So the arc is somewhere around about there. This one as well has been continuing to build out a little bit to the right-hand side. The arc target is much higher up here, of course. So we'll just have to be a little bit patient and wait for the price to break through this resistance zone, which I've had marked on the chart for a while now. I think we need to get above around about $9, a little bit above $9, and then we should get the next rally underway, and that should start to confirm the right-hand edge of this arc as we continue to move upwards. Okay, so that's band protocol. Not too much more we can say on that one, I don't think. Binance, the small arc that you can see there turned out, as I've mentioned before, to be invalid as we've pulled back in a bullish wedge and then broken to the upside and confirming a larger arc in the process. So the target is somewhere around about $700, and once we get there, I'll sort of look at the chart again and reconsider where we might be going in the context of the rest of the crypto bull market. Of course, the altcoins should be really getting pretty lively in perhaps a week or two's time. So I'd expect some sort of modest gains between now and then, but it could take off at any point, I guess, and start moving upwards quite sharply. You can see what happened here. So once we get some really serious moves in an upwards direction, then we'll take a closer look at some of the moving averages and potential sort of exit strategies. Bitcoin, well, there's several charts for Bitcoin. This is one of them. This is a bullish descending wedge with an arc combination, and we've moved above the dotted line that I had on there, marked as around about 60,000 as initial resistance. We've kind of broken out and sort of back tested it, and we're trying to push through this general 60 to 65,000 area. Of course, once we get above 65,000, we're just going to hit this pivot line, which goes back all the way to April of last year. That pivot line is likely to offer some resistance, and we'll be hitting that somewhere not too far above 65,000. So let's see what happens at that point. But another way of looking at Bitcoin is the bull bear arc chart, which I had previously posted. The potential bearish arc was invalidated by the breakout, and this bullish arc, of course, proved to be the one that was most powerful and controlled the direction of Bitcoin during this period. We've sliced through my target area now, hit the target beautifully, getting up around the previous highs on a sort of a weekly basis at least, and so that's that chart complete essentially. What happens next is open to a lot of debate, and this is the triple arc chart, which I've had going for a long time now, more than a year and a half or something. I've been continually posting this chart and tracking its progress. There have been various scares where it looked as though perhaps the arc would be in that position. It's still building out to the right, as these arcs quite often do, and so really, you know, I suppose you could put the ARC in that position and sort of say this is just a back test of this line. So until we actually break out above this particular dotted line here, which is somewhere up around 78 to 82,000, we can't really take anything for granted. But it's perfectly reasonable at the moment to assume that the ARC positioning is something a little bit more like that. But of course, it's only with hindsight that you know for certain what the ARC position was. So that's what we're watching for. We're looking for key price points and the price action at those key price points. And I'll be looking at the technical indicators along with distance from moving average and all sorts of momentum, strength and momentum indicators to give some clues as to just what's going to happen here. So, you know, we've done well to get from 30,000 to over 60,000. Now let's just see if we can push through that all important zone there. Bitcoin dominance, whilst we're on it, the Bitcoin dominance chart has trended upwards as I thought it would, guided by this sort of arc pattern. There's room for it to pull back considerably and give the altcoins a real boost at any point. But I'd expect to see the Bitcoin dominance chart get back up to around about 49%. We're at 47.2 now. And beyond that, I think someone was asking me if I was a betting man, what would I say at that point? Is it going to pull back starting the alt season, or is it going to have a final surge? I suppose if I was a betting man, I'd say I'm slightly in favor of, you know, a final surge up to this resistance line, somewhere around about 52% on Bitcoin dominance, which would see Bitcoin surging substantially, I'd expect, and beyond 100,000, and perhaps getting up towards 150,000 or more before the Bitcoin dominance begins to pull back. During this drop here, the price of Bitcoin itself may well continue to gain ground, but more slowly than the altcoins. So we may see Bitcoin gain, I don't know, 10% or something during this period here. But the, I'm just picking a number out of thin air, 10, 20%, whatever. But the altcoins gaining, you know, hundreds of percent during this period here. So of course the theory based on, you know, history and what happened last time is that, you know, the time to exit Bitcoin and get into the altcoins more generally is when this begins to turn down. Then as it passes through the support zone, if history is a guide, Bitcoin will actually start to lose value, and the altcoins will pop. Some of them will, when I say pop, I mean they'll go up in price very rapidly as this passes through the support zone for a week or two, just a week or two, and then everything comes crashing down. So that's the theory. Let's see if it pans out that way. I suppose Bitcoin Cash, orientate the arc correctly. Bitcoin Cash is progressing well. This arc as well is also building out to the right hand side, having looked as though it may be a smaller arc initially. It's actually built out and extended the target time into December, which ties in with all the others. We've seen a breakout of this bullish descending wedge. It's moved to the upside, then come back and gone sideways. Unless this is going to extend right the way out here somewhere and see Bitcoin Cash retesting the support line down here, which, you know, it's not impossible, but that does take the target time into January. So, you know, it's something just to bear in mind, is that this arc can extend. It can't really extend much beyond that without damaging the touch points on the left hand side. So there is some scope for this to extend into the early part of next year, but that's not really what I'm expecting. I think we'll find the right side touch points sometime fairly soon. Okay, Coty, if that's how you pronounce it. I'm never too sure with some of these. The horizontal arc, the arc with the horizontal top, has hit its target and it's pulled back to form a bullish wedge there. Don't know if you can see that. Make the chart a bit bigger, this bullish wedge here. So the signal for the next big move is going to be a breakout above the, I suppose it's around about 55 cents, that kind of area, getting back above the 30-day moving average, and we should start to accelerate away to the upside. but this, like many of the others, has continued to build out further to the right, frustratingly, I suppose, but there you have it. It's still an arc because the left-hand side is very clearly an arc formation, so the right-hand side is just doing its thing and building out. Cardano, huge arc there, which achieved its target, and we've been messing around here with all sorts of up, down, sideways price action, which has broadly been in a horizontal topped arc for a period of time now, which has come back and retested, and we're forming a sort of a handle type thing. Could also draw this support line, something like this, I suppose. But either way, we're looking for a breakout above this area here, above the 30-day moving average, $2.18, above the $2, and once we get above the sort of $2.30 horizontal resistance area, that's when things start to get interesting again. So that's what we're looking for on Cardano. For the time being, it's just continuing to consolidate. Chainlink, the arc there is still in progress. The left-hand side is in place. The right-hand side, still somewhat unconfirmed, although perhaps we've got a couple of touch points here. We are above the 30-day moving average, so if we start to move nicely to the upside here, then things will get interesting fairly quickly into November and December. So scope for it to go sideways a little bit more, but then some rapid upside gains are likely. I guess once we get above, well, it's $36 to get above this point here on this previous high here, $36, $37, and then we'll see some rapid gains after that, I think. Civic, that's a very large arc which has been building out for a couple of years at least. We're in the top right, heading towards the top right hand corner of that arc now, and towards the target. The target somewhere up around the I suppose it'd be the $2 mark, perhaps a little bit higher, currently at 46 cents. So again, it's just playing a waiting game with that one. Cosmos, same sort of thing. Large arc is completed. We're actually in a smaller arc here, which has been building out a, you could call it handle, a bullish wedge pattern. I'll just put the support line in here. There you go, like that, something like that. And time is running out, I suppose you could say, on this for the handle to break to the upside. Interesting to see what happens when it does, because we've got this marked resistance zone that goes back to mid 2020. So it's going to be interesting to see if we can break above that, as my black arrow indicates, break out to the upside and have a false breakout, and then come crashing back down. Dash is fine. I don't think I've touched this arc recently. It's continuing to build out. The horizontal arc target is up here. I don't think I've changed that. It's above $1,000 anyway, perhaps as high as 1625, which was the previous high. So wow, I mean, that's a long way above where we are now. It's hard to imagine that, isn't it? But you know, let's just see how this pans out. We need to see a break above. Let me just put a line in here there. Once we break above this area here, around about $210, that'll be a game on for Dash. 210, 215, that kind of area. Okay, Dogecoin. What's happening with Doge? Okay, seems to have lost my drawings. I don't know why. Oh, there we go. Just come back. Thank you, Trading View. Giving me a heart attack there for a minute. Okay, so the arc here is building out. I think initially, you'll probably remember I had the arc closer in. I can't remember where it was originally, something like that. But we've continued to see this arc building out with all of the others. And currently, we're in this position here. And the furthest this can extend is, so it's a bit of a problem to try and get it to extend that far, because this touch point starts to become invalid on the left hand side. So if we're going to be hitting our arc targets, in December, then you wouldn't really want to see this arc pulled out much further than that. Put the left-hand side back where it should be, somewhere there. So we just need some confirmation here, and it'll come in the form of a very rapid move to the upside when it begins to kick in. And once we've got back above this horizontal resistance line around about 34 cents. So that's what we're looking for, further confirmation. We're back above the 30-day moving average, so that's a good start. And you can see just how quickly sometimes this can move once you're in that position above the 30-day moving average. Things can start to move very rapidly to the upside. So let's hope that's what happens. Ethereum is still grinding towards its previous highs in that sort of $4,000 area, well, 4384. So I've had that marked on the chart for a while now. We just need to see a decisive move above that, and then it really is game on with this, moving up towards numbers above 10, 15,000, quite probable with Ethereum, and perhaps up towards even 20,000 perhaps. But we need to see all of this confirmed by a break above 4,000. We're above the 30-day moving average, so every reason to be bullish on Ethereum. Ethereum Classic, looking for a chart to load. Don't know why TradingView is being so slow. I'll close down some more of my windows. Talk amongst yourselves while Ethereum Classic chart loads up. Okay, I'll pause there for a second and just wait for it to load. Okay, that's good. The chart's loaded up. So Ethereum Classic has broken out of a bullish descending wedge there, and then it's gained ground and gone sort of sideways within a very tight range for a while now. So my expectation is for this to turn upwards quite rapidly soon. Arc target on the horizontal arc is somewhere above $110, $120. And then a move above that should, well, from a technical point of view, it would start to activate this larger arc here with targets up much higher in the $700 area perhaps. So let's just see how quickly this moves when the time comes. But this target here in December, it depends how the rest of the crypto bull market is going at the time, whether we overshoot massively and manage to hit this upper resistance line, or whether we fall short of that. Certainly more confident of this lower one being achieved. Above that, it would be a case of using moving averages to time your exit, I think, and I've mentioned that before. Phantom has hit the arc target that I set some time ago. It's been making a sideways consolidation here. And when it breaks out, I think the best strategy is to use a moving average of your choice, really. It could be a 30-day or it could be a shorter one, perhaps a 10-day moving average, to time the exit on Phantom when it takes off, or if assuming it does take off. Of course, it's already reached its arc target here after gains of 900 or 1,000%, which is pretty good in anybody's book. But further moves to the upside, as I say, use the shorter moving averages would be my suggestion on that. Filecoin has been another frustrating one because the arc has moved out sideways from its initial position here, which looked like a pretty good bet, but it's extended out sideways to sort of confirm the arc target timing of all the others, which is into December. We need a breakout above this descending resistance line here. I'll put the resistance line in there, and a breakout, I would say, once we get above the $65 area, and I've mentioned this previously, and we got above $65, we got above 75, we've got up here above 100 before the recent pullback. So volatile, to say the least. But and again, it's going to be a case of using short moving averages to time an exit on this. But we should see a more sustained move developing over the coming sort of days and weeks. The graph looks like it's coming back to backtest the support line. Actually, I've just noticed that there. So it's coming back to backtest the 75 cent area, and a breakout move above. Where would that be? Well, anything above about 80 cents really will show that this is going to the upside and is destined for sort of 85 cents at least. And it would be quite nice actually if this just came back down and tested the arc to give a bit more of a confirmed arc position, because like a lot of these, it's we need a few more touches to confirm exactly where the edge of this arc is going to end up being. But the longer term target in towards December is much higher up here. Target area, well, the target timing has changed, but target area hasn't, or target price hasn't. It's going to be up above $2. Okay, Harmony. Let's see if we can get the Harmony chart to load up. Okay, so the target area has been hit on the arc. See, the previous arc which I had was completed, and the one before that as well. So these arcs have been playing out nicely. The target area is hit, although I'd expect it to move higher than that and hit the upper sort of reaches of the target area, up around 35, 36 cents at least. A breakout above that dotted line there, and we've only got two sort of touch points on it, so it's a little bit tenuous, but a breakout move above that, and again you're into using the moving average. You can see what I mean here. This green line is the 30-day moving average, and you just exit on a breakdown below that, because when it goes parabolic, it stays above that 30-day moving average. A move below that and it's exit time. Hedera hash graph, an arc on there, horizontal arc has achieved its target. It's building a sort of consolidation pattern. You could maybe have this resistance line up here, I suppose, like that. Might be a better position for it. So a breakout through, we really need to get through this red resistance zone. So getting up at above sort of 40 cents would be good, and then a move above the 50 cent area, and above the highs there at 58 cents would activate this upper target, which by November, December would be up above $1.30, $1.40, that kind of area. IOTA, it's hard to imagine some of these numbers, isn't it? You know, if this comes off in the next few weeks, then there's going to be some huge gains going on here. IOTA, small arc is playing out okay within a larger arc, which has targets previously mentioned, up around sort of $4 or $5 up towards $6. So some really big gains potentially on this one as well. And it's looking like an inverse head and shoulders to my eye on here as well, although I don't really like head and shoulders patterns much, don't tend to trust them. But there's a head here and a sort of shoulders area here and across on here. So a move above this sort of area here around about $1.35 would be a good indication of a bullish move developing. Litecoin, again, a little bit of a head and shoulder. In fact, a lot of these are showing inverse head and shoulders type patterns. Various arc positionings. I can get rid of that one. So how far can it extend? Well, not much further. So that outer one I've got there is kind of the worst case scenario, but it looks as though the inner arc is playing out at the moment, and it looks as though we're destined towards the 235 area, 240 area at a minimum, which is back at this level here. Perhaps find some resistance when we get there, and then a move out above that will activate the targets up around 400 or so. So and I mean, that doesn't need to be the end of it, of course. That would just be a double from where we are now. But I suspect, I could be wrong, but I suspect that Litecoin will overshoot this arc and perhaps go a little bit crazy to the upside. If and when that happens again, use your moving averages as an exit strategy tool. Maker, various arcs extending out sideways. This really was a bullish descending wedge here. Back above the 30-day moving average. We're back testing it now, so it would make sense if we actually saw a really good upside reaction here, taking us up to sort of 2,700 or just above, and then back to this broad zone of resistance above, sort of in the 3,000 to 3,400 area. And any move above the sort of 4,000 area will set us on our way to considerably higher targets, I think. Matic, arc extending out again. We're sort of above the 30-day moving average. We've had a bullish pullback by the looks of it here, and it's kind of up, consolidate, up, consolidate. It's in a nice bullish sort of pattern here at the moment, again with something of a inverse head and shoulders thing going on. So the $2.72 target area, I'm reasonably confident with on that. Monero, small arc within the right hand corner of a larger arc, which is relatively common. The target area up above $500, and we're just back testing the 30-day moving average at the moment, so all looking fairly okay on that one. Neo, same sort of thing. Inverse head and shoulders again going on. We've broken out to a bullish descending wedge, back testing 30-day moving average and what is probably the arc edge here. So the previously mentioned targets, anywhere between sort of 150 and $180 or more, towards $200, remain valid. Those targets remain valid. Orchid, yeah, some good upside reaction there when we hit what I now presume is the edge of the arc here. So current price is sort of around this support level area. It's actually back down just below it. So I suppose you could put the support line there as well, couldn't you? Just on the candle bodies rather than, yeah, kind of there. It makes sense as well. So there's a couple of support areas or resistance areas. I'm currently sitting on that one, and I've just moved the arc, so it's in the wrong position. There you go. That's where it should be. So the target area, getting up close towards $2 or so. So some very good potential upside gains there. I'll say $2, although that's into April of next year. But I suspect this is going to move more vertically upwards and then come back down. But we shall see on that one. Polkadot. Polkadot has been another example of an arc that has had me fooled a little bit in this position, extending it out as time goes by. But those left-hand touch points, they still fit very nicely when you do that. There is scope for this one to extend to around about that sort of area there. It still works if you put it there. Just extend the left-hand side back a little bit to maintain the touch points. So I'll put it in that position just for now as a worst-case scenario, which gives the target timing into December. That kind of ties in with all of the others, and it does suggest a few weeks of consolidation is possible, or even a pullback down to here. So it's worth keeping that in mind. But a more bullish potential would be something like this, with a smaller arc. But we won't really know until we get some further price action. The target price doesn't change in any case. It's just the the timing changes by a few weeks for the ARC target to be hit. Seer coin. Okay, so again, the large arc here, which I put on some while back, is sort of the furthest extent, I think, where we can position the arc without destroying the touch points on the left-hand side. So that's as far as it goes there, with the target time in the sort of third week of December for these price targets. I put around 6.5, something like that. We're at nearly 2 cents at the moment. When will the move get underway? Well, we've got to kind of break through that area there, haven't we? So if we see a move above sort of 1.9 cents, that sort of thing, then we can probably start to think that the arc edge needs to be in here. Okay, but it's still a little bit unknown at the moment. Solana. Okay, Solana's had a series of arcs which have actually made up the right-hand side of a much larger arc. Interestingly, are we above the 30-day moving average? 150 to 156. Yes, we are. Just a small arc here building out at the moment, and again, a little bit of a question mark over just where the edge of the arc is going to be. But the target is this red area, this red shaded area. I'll just make it a bit smaller. So the target's up in the 330 kind of area. If it goes into November, December, it's going to be over 400. This target zone here, so it's more than double current prices. The upside move, if I just put a resistance line in here, bring that down a little bit. Okay, so once we get above that, I think we're going to see a nice move to the upside. So we need to get above about 165, that kind of area, 160, 165. So not much higher than we are at the moment. There's also a support line in there, isn't there? Let's put that in. Okay, so that's Solana. Tron is one of those that's reached its large arc target. I'll zoom out so you can see what I mean. That large arc, beautifully played out, hit the top right hand corner. In fact, it reached its target price early in the same way that it hit this left hand side. See how price came down and it hit the top of the arc this distance from the left. So that very often means that you're going to hit the top of the arc that distance from the right. Anyway, so yes, we've exceeded the arc target, come back down, tested the arc itself, and in doing that, we're building out another smaller arc, which suggests a final crypto bull market flourish where we probably pass through my target zone here and may well hit the upper resistance line again, which would give some huge gains on Tron of the order of at least sort of 5 or 6 times the current price. But as I've said before, one thing at a time. Let's just hit this arc target first, which would be 50% above current levels, and then we can start looking at all the moving averages and parabolic strategies for exiting on a parabolic upside move. A Telcoin, same sort of thing, arc building out, heading towards the arc target area, which is going to be just over double the current price, and the possible greedy target, as I've labelled it, which would be about 5 times the current price. So we need a breakout move. We're building a descending wedge here, and so I could see some nice price action once we get above about 2 cents, 2.1 cents, I think that is. So yep, one to watch there as well. Theta Fuel, long period of going sort of sideways. When you look at it from March, it's kind of just built out sideways, but in doing that, it's built this sort of wedge pattern with a support line and a downtrending resistance line. Once we break above that resistance line at around about 35 cents, that sets up the target up here at around about 75. So there'll be another arc in there probably. Let me just see if I can draw it in. Maybe something like that. Which takes us in December up to around about 75 cents. So that's more than double the current price. Of course, you know, you can see what happened back here when it broke out, and you know, we had an arc and it just catapulted way to the upside. The same thing could happen again. The targets could be massively higher, some value, sort of seemingly crazy value, but you would use your moving average to give you a guide as to when to exit on that kind of a move. Theta token, same sort of thing. You know, it looks as though we're going to achieve this $7.50 target area quite easily, $7.60, and then move up to around about $15, which is nearly 3 times the current price. Any move above that, and yeah, much higher targets akin to a move like this, really, where we went from, you know, 50 cents up to $15, 30 times move. So are we going to move that much? I don't know. Your guess is probably just about as good as mine, but you know, we've got the resistance lines, support and resistance lines there as a frame of reference, and that's all I can say on that. You know, as long as we don't move below the support line, then these upside targets remain in play. UMA is up around about 13% today, and you can see it's got this resistance line to break through here, so we need to get above the sort of $14.50, we'll call it $14.50. It's a bit below that, but call it $14.50, and once we get above that, should see a rapid move up towards $25, $26 up here. Why does that say $19 on there? I'll get rid of that label. It's not $19, is it? It's about 25 to 34. I think I placed that zone there on the weekly chart. It doesn't look to make so much sense on the daily, but anyway, passing through that red zone there will instantly open up the previous high at nearly $45, and then potentially something much higher than that if these 2 points are forming a resistance line. You can draw a line joining any 2 points, so it doesn't make a lot of sense at the moment, but if we get above this red zone here, then I'll be looking at that along with Fibonacci extension levels to see if this target area makes any sense whatsoever. At the moment, it looks ridiculous to move from $12 to well over 100, but stranger things have happened with the crypto market. So yeah, VE chain arc building out sideways, and I've put the arc in its kind of most pessimistic position, but we could well be actually seeing the arc edge being put in place at the moment. It looks as though it might be in this sort of area at the moment. You can see how the target price is the same. It's just the timing that will change. You know, I'm expecting late November into December for these, really. So and the target back up at 28 cents pretty much, so triple the current price, and again could go much higher. You can see how quickly price can move on these. Went from 8 to, what was it, 28 in the space of a couple of weeks there. So, and that dotted line at the top is the all-time high point, which is a potential, I suppose. Verge. Let's take a look at Verge when the computer decides to load the chart up. So Verge is playing out pretty well at the moment. Don't see any reason to change anything much on that. I'll just get rid of that angled line. Don't need it anymore. So yeah, Verge is playing out well. A move above 26 cents will be a breakout on this descending wedge, bullish descending wedge, 27 cents. And then that's going to set up a move towards, did I say 27 cents? I meant 2.3 cents at the moment, aren't we? So a move above 2.7 will take us up to around about 8 or 9 cents, and then up to the ARC target in time, which is up above sort of 30 cents. So the target is much higher than where we are at the moment. So another one that has huge potential that seems a bit mind-boggling at the moment, but I'm just kind of telling you what the chart is saying, I guess. Stellar Lumens. Stellar Lumens has played out really well since 2018. The ARC has, after we had these two touch points, the ARC has played out quite nicely. It's made another touch point here at point number 3 and continues to move up within a smaller arc here towards a target of 80 cents, near enough 80 cents, with a final sort of destination target. Well, it's not final, but this kind of move that I'm expecting to unfold next, up around about 90 to 95 cents. Beyond that, of course, much higher targets, like with the others, much higher targets are possible, but seem crazy at this point in time. But should we move above this target area, then we'll start looking at those. Ripple's up a little today, as you can see, and its arc is continuing to play out well. Nothing really to add on that. Expecting to get fully into zone 3 over the next few weeks, and then anything beyond the upper resistance line here on the arc, and we'll start talking about that in a Cryptocast if that happens, which would be nice, because that would be pretty exciting stuff. Tezos arc has completed. I think I've posted on that already, and we've seen a bullish kind of pullback, forming a sort of a handle. So let's put that on there as well. You can see we've got sort of a handle shape on the cup here. So a move back above the 30-day moving average, which is around about $6.80, and then above about $7 will take us through this resistance line, and should suggest that we're going to move back towards the upper resistance line here, up at around about $10.50. So not far off double the current price, I suppose. And a breakout above that resistance line again, like I've said with the others. Then we'll start talking about that in another Cryptocast at the time. Zinfin, if that's how you say it, Zinfin, I think. Arc building out, which is extended, keeps extending with time until we have these right side touch points confirmed. You just don't know where this is going to land. It could be in that kind of position there. In fact, I'll put it there just to be ultimately pessimistic. But we could be seeing a turnaround here. And certainly once we get above the 30-day moving average and break out of this bullish descending wedge, then I'd be feeling more optimistic that we've perhaps found an arc touch on the right-hand side. But I'll leave the arc in its most pessimistic position just for now, just to try and counteract any bullish biasness. Biasness, is that a word? Don't know if it's a word. District Ox. I'm pretty sure I just invented a word there. Bias. Right, it's just bias. Right. So the very large arc on District Ox has built out. There we go. There's the price action that built out this large arc, and as with one or two of the others, we've built a small arc in the top right-hand corner. The target of which is the all-time high at 51 cents. So that would be sort of triple the current price. Seems reasonable. And if I just zoom in on this, you can see we're breaking out of a bullish, or have broken out of a bullish descending wedge, and even got an arc within an arc within an arc going on here, probably. There you go. Small arc, it's like Russian dolls, this, isn't it? Small arc, medium-sized arc, massive arc. Okay, too many arcs, but the target area on this is, on the daily chart anyways, is kind of around the 30 to 35 cent. So sort of double the current price in November. But of course, with what's looking likely with the other charts, this is highly likely to shoot out to the upside, back up to the previous all-time high, and quite possibly well beyond that. But I don't really want to discuss that at the moment. I'm being ultra cautious on these. You know, I suppose my bias is that these are all going to break out to the upside and do something pretty crazy. But for the time being, all I'm suggesting is that we're going to reach these sort of initial arc targets. So I hope that makes sense. And I hope that's all helped and been useful for you. So I'll stop it there. I've been talking for far too long already, and much more to come as time goes by. So thanks everybody for watching and listening.